folks, Ariel over here at Fineth with a little update on Ember, the Icelandic chicken, and her double batch of Swedish ducklings that she has been raising. So this footage goes through the last several weeks, but toward the end here you get to where they are. The oldest ones are 5 weeks old. If this is your first video, you might be interested to go back and check out the history of how our chicken ended up with 2 different batches of ducklings of 2 ages here. But anyway, it has been a lot of fun to watch them grow. They have enjoyed hanging out in their duck yard. Mrs. Quack was there in the middle. You can see her feathers are looking a little rough. She's molting right now, so she looks a little bedraggled. She's lost a lot of feathers, and there's new sleek ones growing in. This is something birds do every year. Anyway, the ducklings have spent a lot of time being babies and napping. When they sleep, they look like duck puddles to me. They tend to curl up in piles next to each other, and especially when they were this age, they would tend to roll their heads over and rest their heads on each other, and it just looked like a puddle of ducklings when they would sleep, which was kind of fun to watch. But in between sleeping, they would get up and be very, very active and running around like many baby things. And the 2 different ages seem to continue to get along really well. That is Ember, their mama hen there, with the, gray and black, like an ember in a fireplace. And she supervised all their comings and goings from the yard where they'd been sleeping, off to the creek, and back, and everything in between. Mrs. Quack has been kind of hanging around them as well, since Mr. Quack decided to try to kill all the babies and had to go away. I think she was a little lonely, the poor thing, and she hasn't shown any motherly tendencies at all. She has no clue, as far as I can tell, that these ducklings are actually her babies. She did not raise them, but she's been hanging out with them in more of a big sister way, or a kind of I'm lonely, you look like other ducks, can I spend time with you, can we be friends kind of way. So she is often, almost always now, with them, but she has not been mothering them. Anyways, they've gotten bigger and bigger. They've continued to explore the property. They enjoy the creek. It's been pretty hot most of the time, and so it's nice and shady along the creek, and they've learned to swim, and Ember has continued to hang out right on the bank, pretty much supervising them when they all sleep there on the bank. She's pecking and hunting beside them. When they get back up and decide to go back in the water, you can't see the water, but there's a ditch with water right over there. They all go diving in, and she hangs out right beside them to be sure they're all okay. And that's after she actually swam the first time they got in the water to go be sure they were all right, which was kind of amazing to see. Since then, she prefers to stay on the bank and supervise them from there. Though I don't know if she's ever figured out why her little defective chickens don't act like normal chickens. Could not have possibly asked for a better mother. She is now at about 4 weeks old. When the oldest ones were 4 weeks old, she started to decide that they were pretty okay on their own and leave them alone much of the day. They're huge, of course. Those biggest ducklings are almost bigger than her already, and the little ones aren't too far behind. But she started to pretty much ignore them, though every now and then if one of them made a racket, she'd come racing over still to see if they were okay. But now, by the end of this footage, the oldest ones have just turned 5 weeks old, so the younger ones are 9 days younger than that. They're about 3.5 weeks old. and she has pretty much gone back to her chicken business. She's back to laying eggs, pretty much ignoring them. They are now larger than she is, and that's about the same time Blackie decided her brood was all grown up and went back to roosting on the high perch and laying eggs and letting her babies do their own things. So these guys are pretty much on their own now. They are not little. You can see their, in some of the close-ups, they've still got some of the baby fuzz in between their feathers that are growing out. I found it interesting, in addition to ducks growing feet first while chickens grow wings first, when they flap their wings here, you can see how tiny their wings still are. They almost look defective now on their big bodies, but they are starting to get their longer, flight feathers developing on their wings, so they soon won't look so disproportionate. But in addition to that difference between watching the chicks grow, the ducks also feathered kind of down their neck and their chest and their belly first with their mature feathers, while chickens feathered out on like their shoulders and wings and back first. I assume this is because the first thing they need is good flotation on their underside, unlike a chicken. But that was just another interesting difference to watch between our chicks growing and our ducks growing. But they love playing in the water and finding, I don't know what, all kinds of bugs and grubs and snails and whatever they can find in there, but they seem very happy to spend almost all day in the water. Though they do take breaks and get out of the water and go sleep somewhere, like beside the woodpile. It's so funny to me when they stretch their legs like that. Their legs look like they're broken. Anyway, so they go back to sleeping in their duckling puddles and then go back to playing in the water again. And again, it's been interesting to watch their colors change a bit as they get older. We have that one black duckling, and then a bunch of the blue ones, and then the lighter colored ones are called Splash or Silver. They're getting pretty white compared to most pictures I've seen of Splash, but they're on their heads. They're starting to get a little bit more of a gray-silver tint as their real feathers come in, so it'll be fun to see what color they actually end up being here as they mature. No, I do not have any idea yet who is boys or girls. This was a fun day. This is a little irrigation ditch that goes down the side of the property, and it is not normally clear full of water, but somebody had a little bit of a mix-up on their irrigating schedule, and the water came up very high and filled our entire ditch line, which was awesome. The ducks were not complaining, and the fruit trees got a good drink, and no one was unhappy. But this is not the way it is every day. But this day we had a little long skinny pond that went the whole way down to the tiny house, and so the ducks followed it the whole way from, you know, their yards kind of at the other end of the property, the whole way down there, splashing and diving and eating and everything, and they thought it was wonderful. So that's our little update on our half-grown ducklings. Hopefully in a couple more months we'll be able to tell who's boys and girls, and I'm rooting for all 15 of the babies to be girls, though statistically obviously that's fairly unlikely. But I thought you guys might enjoy watching them because they just make me smile every day as I get to see them waddle and swim and sleep in puddles together and all the things that ducklings do.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Come back next time for more adventures.
Thanks for watching.